Welcome to Serving with Success, Meal Counting and Claiming. In this module, participants will learn how to claim reimbursement, and that all meals claimed for reimbursement must meet required meal patterns and be served only to students eligible for free, reduced price, and full price status, and the importance of an accurate system for counting, collecting, and claiming meals by category that consistently yields correct claim results.
Meal counting and claiming is kind of, it's the basis of the program. We have to get an accurate meal count in order to know how much we are reimbursing funding to the school. Without that, we could be throwing thousands of dollars in one school that doesn't need it and shorting another school that really needs it if they have an inaccurate count.
To receive reimbursement, the LEA must have a meal counting and claiming system to accurately count, record, consolidate, and report the number of reimbursable meals claimed in the free, reduced price, and full price categories. The meal counting and claiming process must include either a manual or electronic mechanism for counting meals and consolidating meal totals at each school within the LEA. This mechanism must include edit checks, an internal control system that validates the total meal counts prior to the submission of the claim for reimbursement. There must be an acceptable counting and collection system with adequate support documentation on file for the number of meals claimed. The benefit issuance document created from the student database indicating free, reduced, and full price students should be kept current and always available. The daily participation form is for manual use and is available on the DESE website. The elements of an acceptable counting and claiming system are: the LEA must have eligibility documentation to claim all free and reduced price meals for reimbursement. These documents can be household eligibility applications, the direct certification list, and other source categorically eligible list, such as the homeless and migrant liaison list, list of runaway and foster children, Head Start and Pre-K Even Start lists, and non-applicant lists approved by the LEA. In order for a student to receive a reimbursable meal, a medium of exchange must be employed to count a meal at the point of service. The medium of exchange is the way benefit issuance is distributed. That is, it is the means of counting the meal at the point of service. For example, a student may have a ticket that is exchanged for a reimbursable meal, or the student may have a PIN number that authorizes the exchange of a reimbursable meal. Whatever the medium of exchange, it is important that it does not overtly identify the student as eligible for free or reduced price meals.
Overt identification is basically an effort to prevent anyone from figuring out if someone's free, reduced, or paid. We want to protect the privacy of the students.
Acceptable meal count systems include electronic systems using PIN pads or student cards with barcodes or magnetic strips, biometric systems such as fingerprint scanners. Tokens or tickets can be used, but should not be color-coded or use single-digit or single-letter codes to indicate status. Codes consisting of 4 or 5 letters or numbers work best. A roster system or checklist may employ different printing styles to indicate status. For example, student status can be designated on the roster by underlining either the first, last, or full name of the individual to indicate his or her particular status. Rosters should not be color-coded and should not be visible to students. Properly coded student identification cards can be used. Cash registers should not have notes, labels, or keys that could indicate a student's status. Coding student status is a key element in preventing overt identification and an important part of cashier training. It is imperative that the benefit issuance document, also known as the eligibility roster, be kept current. Revisions to this document should be made immediately and noted with a date of change, such as anytime a student enrolls in school, or transfers, or withdraws, when a change occurs in a student's approved benefit, when a household chooses not to participate in the program, upon receipt of the new direct certification listing, when verification determines a change to benefits, When new applications are submitted due to a change in household size, income, or the receipt of SNAP, TANF, or FDPIR benefits by any member of the household. Point of service count is the point in the serving line where it can be determined that a reimbursable meal containing all the required components has been served to an eligible child.
Yeah, one of those, and then grab another piece of fruit since you don't have quite enough. Got to have at least a half a cup.
Point of service is basically the place where all meal and counting and claiming happens. If a student goes through a line and does not have a reimbursable meal, the person at the point of service can either say, you need to get a fruit or a vegetable for this to count as a reimbursable meal, or they can go through and that meal will just not be counted.
Key elements for point of service counts are: the meal must meet the meal pattern requirement, and there must be an accurate system in place to count the reimbursable meal served. It is also recommended that the count be conducted by an adult trained in the point of service count, regardless of where meals are served, including any other space outside the cafeteria. A point of service count must be taken. If a district or school has an alternative method for point of service counting, it must be approved by Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, Food and Nutrition Services. Prepaid meals are common. However, meals are recorded one reimbursable meal per student, per meal service per day. Prepaid meals are not recorded as reimbursable until it has been determined the student's meal contains the necessary requirements for that particular meal service. Cashiers should be trained to identify one reimbursable meal per student, per meal service per day. Charging meals is allowed at the discretion of the school district. School districts should establish policies to keep accounts current and avoid account deficits for students charging meals. The point of service system should include a method to identify students who obtain a second meal. The second meal is not reimbursable, and the student should be charged accordingly. Edit checks compare the number of free, reduced price, and full price students with the number of meals served in each category. Edit checks should be conducted daily on each meal service in order to prevent errors in charging, recording, and consolidating meal counts prior to submitting a claim for reimbursement. Edit checks may be done mechanically or electronically, but should not be performed using kitchen production records or cash counts. Electronic point of service systems, which can provide daily and monthly edit check sheets, are also available. Some districts use an edit check spreadsheet that includes the number of students that have received a free, reduced, or full price meal for each date of the month. The meal count edit check must be performed daily and reconciled monthly to ensure that meal counts are accurate before submitting the monthly claim for reimbursement. The edit check uses the average daily attendance percentage of students in school every day to reveal excess meal claims occurring on a daily or monthly basis. Since enrollment consists of free, reduced price, and full price students, the number of meals claimed for reimbursement should not exceed the average daily attendance percentage. If this occurs, an explanation is required. Following reconciliation and consolidation, the LEA will submit the monthly claim for reimbursement electronically using MoDesi FNS web applications.
Whenever we do a review and we're looking at the attendance factor, we're going to compare that to each day and make sure that it lines up and we don't have days that are really high or days that are really low beyond that attendance factor.
It is important that policies and procedures, such as the meal count edit check, ensure the number of free, reduced price, and full price meals does not exceed the school's enrollment and should not exceed the school's average daily attendance percentage, and that the meal reimbursement claim is accurate and supported by documentation. Now that you have finished viewing meal counting and claiming, complete the following brief quiz.